Hey, Rachel, let's bring you into the conversation here because we've seen this video, right? This dramatic view of just how quickly, this river rose and how wide it became. What were the highest rain totals they dealt with there in Central Texas?
Some of these totals are going up to about 20 inches of rainfall, and there were several locations that saw up to 20 inches of rainfall. Now, in that particular area, a little bit closer to 10 inches of rain in some locations, but it's impacted several spots within Central Texas. And what I'm showing you on your screen, those are your estimated rain totals since July 3rd. Going up to today, and I wanted to show you these totals. They're impressive, but it's because it's still raining in parts of these areas. So what I'm showing you is looping radar starting last Friday, so starting from July 4th and continuing through the start of this week. And you'll notice on your screen here, I'm going to loop this over and over again for you just to give you an idea. It's restarting now. That rain didn't move much. So there it is. All that moisture just sat over northwestern parts of San Antonio, then sat over western parts of Austin, moved right back over, and you can see it getting underway once again heading into the start of this week. It has just been immense amounts of rainfall for extended periods of time that have led to substantial and historic rainfall totals for this area.
Yeah, and so much heartbreak. Help us understand how this all started.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that came together to allow for this. We first have to start with Barry. So Barry was a tropical system that ended up moving into Mexico. It dissipated, but the moisture was still there, and you still had the circulation involved with Barry as well. So the remnants of Barry from the circulation to just the moisture that just was pumped into Texas. Problem number one, then you just had abundant moisture anyway and instability. You had fuel for these storms. We talked about it with our concern going forward from here the next few days, how when you get a lot of instability and a lot of moisture, not only can that allow for some strong storms, but you just have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere for these downpours to work with. And then you had a persistent low-level jet. And what that is, really strong winds in the lower parts of the atmosphere. And just because of the terrain of the area, what that was doing was that was enhancing storm development, but it was running perpendicular. So it was almost like the storms couldn't move any because you had some winds moving out of the south and west, winds moving out of the south and east. There was nowhere for them to go. So you just had persistent storms developing over the area. And then they just didn't move any. And then there were some additional issues. We had the positioning of the heavy rainfall on the north and the south fork of that river. If it was some of the KSAT meteorologists out towards San Antonio, I wanted to pick their brain. And here's some of the notes that they were saying. If it had been 10 miles east or west of the north and south fork, it may not have been as much of an issue, but it was right over the wrong spots of that river. The timing, it was the middle of the night. It was the holiday. There were campers, there were RVs. You're just thinking about the worst case scenario there. And this is a heavily warned area anyway with flooding. So maybe many didn't take it as seriously. Oh, we get flash flood warnings all the time, not realizing the scope and the extent of this flash flooding.
Yeah, some folks said that because it becomes fatigue, right? And that's the tricky part for forecasters. And that's why we say you got to take every one of these seriously every time we get one of those. We're not just saying it for our health, right? It's for your health, actually. And again, a reminder, too, tropical storms like we saw here in central North Carolina can cause all kinds of problems as well. Rachel, good information as always. Thank you. Coming up.